North America is a veritable cornucopia of cultures, industries, history, and fantastical landscapes. But along with its diversity and beauty comes a long list of mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. Number 5. Dorothy Arnold was born on July 1st, 1885, to a wealthy family, her father being an importer of fine perfumes and goods in Manhattan, New York. She was a literature student at Bryn Mawr College in Pennsylvania, who aspired to become a published writer upon returning home after her studies. On December 12, 1910, Dorothy left her home and went shopping on Fifth Avenue. She'd been looking for a new dress to wear to her younger sister Marjorie's party. Her mother offered to go along with her, but she said she would prefer to go alone and would let her mother know if she found a dress that she liked. She left the house with about $30 and set out to a store called the Park and Tilford, where she bought a box of chocolates. Thereafter, she walked to Brentano's bookstore, which was located nearby. She bought a book and was described by the book staff as being in a good mood and very polite. Exiting the store, Dorothy ran into a close friend, Gladys King, who said they spoke about the party and that Dorothy seemed to be in a very good mood. Dorothy said that on her way home, she was going to take a walk through Central Park, and the two women went their separate ways. That evening, when Dorothy hadn't returned home for dinner, her family became concerned as she would always notify them if she wouldn't be home for a meal. They reached out to several of Dorothy's friends, but no one had any clue where she might be. Despite their growing concern, the Arnold family decided to keep the disappearance a secret, as they needed to protect their reputation. On one occasion, when a friend of Dorothy's called for her, her mother told the friend that she was indeed back home, but was in bed with a headache. Their next option was to hire a private detective, but despite doing their utmost, no leads were found, and the investigator told the Arnolds to contact police. More than a month after her disappearance, Dorothy's family filed a missing persons report, and after being prompted by police, her father held a press conference, bringing media attention to the case. Many theories were put forward as to what may have happened to Dorothy, ranging from eloping to Europe to slipping and hitting her head, causing amnesia. But despite spending over $250,000 while searching for Dorothy, her family never saw or heard from her again. Number 4. In 1949, Jean Spangler was a 23-year-old actress, dancer, and model who aspired to greatness in Hollywood. She had made a few small appearances in films during the late 40s, including When My Baby Smiles at Me and the musical Young Man with a Horn, while living in Los Angeles. On October the 7th, Jean left her home after informing her sister-in-law, Sophie, that she was leaving to meet up with her ex-husband, Dexter Benner, in order to discuss his late child support payments, and that she would be attending a film set afterward, where she would be working as an extra. A clerk who worked at a shop close to her house reported seeing her standing outside the store as if she was waiting for someone. He was the last person to ever see her. Jean never returned to the house, and Sophie reported her as missing the following day. An investigation was immediately launched, with Dexter being the prime suspect. The couple had been through a bitter divorce, and when questioned, Dexter told police he didn't have any plans to meet with Jean, and that he had been at home with his new wife the entire evening. On October 9th, police found Jean's purse near Griffith Park with both straps broken, devoid of any money, but with a handwritten note inside. Police studied the note, which read, "Kirk, can't wait any longer, going to see Dr. Scott. It will work best this way, while Mother is away." The note seemed unfinished, as it ended with a comma, and it was believed she was interrupted while writing it. It was later found that the movie she was working on starred Kirk Douglas, and rumors spread that she was pregnant with his child, leaving the note to him explaining that she was seeking an abortion. Douglas, however, claimed that he knew of her but didn't know her personally. The mystery only deepened when police learned that she'd been spending time with Davey Ogle, who worked with Mikey Cohen, a notorious gangster. Ogle disappeared 2 days after Jean, and it was reported from El Paso that Ogle was seen in the company of a woman fitting Jean's description. Number 3. Brian Shaffer, a 26-year-old medical student at Ohio State University, had just completed his final exams and was out with his friend, William Florence, also known as Clint. The two were celebrating the end of their studies and the start of spring break 2006 at a bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloona. Earlier in the evening, Brian had spent time with his father, Randy, where they had gone out for a steak dinner. Randy noted that Brian looked tired from studying for his final exam and felt that he should head home rather than go out with Clint, but he didn't say anything to Brian. This would be the last time Randy saw his son. At around 10 p.m., while at the bar, Brian phoned his girlfriend, Alexis Wagner, who was home in Toledo. She was visiting her family before going on a trip to Miami that she and Brian had scheduled. She and her family believed that Brian would propose to her once they were in Miami. After the phone call, the two friends made their way to the Arena District, stopping at several bars along the way. In the early morning hours, they got a ride from one of Clint's friends, Meredith Reed, and they traveled back to the Ugly Tuna. At some point, Brian separated from his friends, and after trying to phone him to no avail, they left the bar at 2 a.m., believing that he had simply gone back to his apartment. When he missed his scheduled flight to Miami on the 3rd of April, he was reported missing. Police checked security footage of the area and spotted Brian talking to two women outside the bar at 1:55 a.m., and then appearing to enter the bar again. He was not seen leaving the bar at any point. Other cameras from the area were checked, but Brian was nowhere to be seen. Dog teams were brought in to aid in the search, but found no trace of Brian, and police went as far as searching the sewer system, also with no results. Lie detector tests were taken by everyone involved, with the exception of Clint Florence, who stated that he told police everything he knew and he didn't have anything to do with his friend's disappearance. Brian has never been found. Number 2. In 1919, Ambrose Small was the owner of the Grand Opera House in Ontario and the Grand Opera House in Kingston, as well as the Grand Theatre in London. He was not an easy man to get along with and was not very well liked within his community. He had a reputation for bad behavior, such as gambling and keeping several mistresses, despite being married to Teresa Corman. His reputation was not helped by the fact that he was open about disliking children and Catholics, and that he didn't feel the need to help the less fortunate. On December the 2nd, he sold his chain of theaters to Trans Canada Theatres Limited, who paid him the princely sum of $1 million. He would receive the rest of the payment, a further $700,000, over the following years, making him a very rich man. Later that same day, Teresa was inside the Dominion Bank, depositing the check they had just received, while Small spoke to his attorney, informing him that he would be keeping John Dofty on as his private secretary, and planned on giving him a raise, as Dofty helped him cover up his hedonistic lifestyle. His attorney would see him once more that afternoon, at around 5:30 p.m., and said that he was in high spirits. Immediately after, Small stepped outside to buy a copy of the New York Times at a nearby newsstand, as he did every day. A heavy snowstorm had swept in, and upon reaching the newsstand, he was told that the train that delivered the papers was delayed due to the storm. Small became enraged at this news and left, swearing heavily as he went. He was never seen again. Small was not reported missing for several days, as it was assumed that he was spending time with his mistresses or had gotten drunk somewhere. But his disappearance eventually resulted in one of Canada's largest search efforts, since Teresa had offered $50,000 for any information leading to him. Strangely, Dorothy disappeared on the same day after withdrawing $100,000 from Small's safety deposit box. He was later found in Portland, Oregon, and received 5 years in jail for theft, but was not implicated in Small's disappearance. Despite police searching the entire city and even dragging Toronto Bay, he was never found. Number 1. William and Margaret Patterson were a husband and wife who lived in El Paso, Texas in 1957. William owned a photo supply store and had shares in a boat company. He owned a Cadillac and a boat, and the couple seemed to be a normal and loving husband and wife. One night, the couple invited their friends, the Wards, over for dinner, and after finishing their meal, Cecil Ward, who owned a motor clinic, accompanied William to his garage where the two men applied acrylic to William's boat. While they spoke, they made plans to meet up later in the week. A few days later, a neighbor called Jerry Cash stopped at the Pattersons' house to bring them some Girl Scout cookies, but he soon left, stating that he felt uncomfortable with William's demeanor. He seemed extremely angry and unhappy with Cash's presence, and Cash left the cookies with Margaret before leaving. He would later state that William seemed mean and very unfriendly. Then, on the morning of March 6th, Cecil Ward was opening his motor clinic when he noticed William's Cadillac sitting in the driveway. He was approached by Doyle Kirkland, who asked Ward to do some work on the car. When Ward asked why he was in possession of his friend's car, Kirkland explained that he'd helped William work on his boat the night before, and that the couple was taking a holiday. Ward phoned the police, and upon entering the Patterson home, they found that it seemed abandoned, although their possessions were still there, as was the family cat, Tommy. Upon questioning Ward, police learned that William was not the quiet family man that he portrayed. He had a 20-year-old mistress, and in court, William's father stated that he expected the couple to disappear at some point, since his son was a free spirit. On March 15th, William's accountant received a telegraph from Dallas in which Patterson directed him to act as business manager of the photo supply shop and rent out their home for 9 months. He also named Doyle Kirkland as the new store manager. Many sightings of the couple have been reported, but no trace of them has ever been found. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.